Oh my God. All right, starting over. Hold on, guys.
That won't change the app.
And we're actually live now.
Okay. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inappropriate Characters. After some delays and difficulties, which are entirely Job's fault, but that's okay. We still love him mainly because neither Benjer or I would have the slightest clue how to do any of this. So it's all up to him, really. He's the best.
Oops! Cut the red wire! Cut the red wire!
Yeah, no, I had unmuted something. It's fine now. You won't hear any more echoes.
Okay, so
mine was echoey too, so I just turned mine off.
Benjer and I wouldn't be able to do this at all. So Job is literally the best option we have, you know. And speaking of which, this week we've had very little news as far as controversy or SJW antics or things like that in the gaming hobby, which I think is very interesting. But beyond that, I think like there's just been low volume posting in general in a lot of social media relating to games. And I'm not sure what's causing it. I think maybe it's like spring fever because it's spring up there in the Northern Hemisphere and, you know, people are going out and stuff and maybe there's less people posting them. Maybe there's some other reason. I don't know. Maybe the Illuminati have changed their policies or something. Anyway, today we are going to talk about a couple of subjects. I think we're going to be talking about one bit of controversy that has popped up. And then we're also going to be pimping some of our products, I guess. I think Venture wanted to mention something about the review I recently did of his Chalt Fuchsia Malaise. I don't know what we should do first. Job, do you have an order of business or is it whatever we want to do when we do it?
I do. I want to get to the controversy. I want to get to the fighting between you and Venger first. So let's. So
we're going to do that first. But before
you
Venture
dare call that a review?
Before Venture dives into that, let me mention, because we have only really one big topic to talk about, there'll probably be time after that. So start thinking about questions you might want to ask us as far as other topics for us to discuss or things you might want to, you might want us to talk about. All right, Venture. So you guys by now watching might know I did a video. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's my latest video on my YouTube channel. The video is called "Stupid Gonzo Ain't What It Used to Be." Chalt Fuchsia Malaise. So it's a review.
That is a good title, though. I did appreciate the titling of that video. I thought that was funny and clever.
Yeah, it's a great title. Anyway, so that was my review of Chalt Fuchsia Malaise. And you guys can see what I think of the game there. But Venture, you can tell us now what you thought of my review if you really want to.
How dare you? No. Overall, I thought it was pretty good. I mean, it's pretty long too. It's over. Is it over a half hour? Yeah, I think it's like 40 minutes or something.
39 minutes and 22 seconds. It's a long. Okay. It's a 40-minute review. So it's it's a lot of detail. I talk a lot in the review about the theory of Gonzo and how that all works. So it's more than just about the game, but all my videos are like that.
Well, because of the difference between Chalt and Chalt Fuchsia Malaise, I think you kind of had to talk about the different kinds of Gonzo there are, or the different Gonzo niches there are. Because, as you said in the review, Chalt, especially in the Black Pyramid, I felt at ease to just go in whatever direction, how far I wanted to go. And I wasn't constrained by, realism, Gygaxian or otherwise. And, I just basically went nuts.
Well, that's a bit of an understatement, Benji. I would suspect that in that dungeon, and probably in a lot of your dungeons that I've seen, I would normally think that what you're doing is just like rolling random tables and putting stuff in wherever. Except that I've seen your random tables; they're not that varied, so it couldn't possibly be the answer.
No, yeah, actually, that's a good question. It wasn't randomized. I basically did go in order, I suppose, because why would you just hop around for no reason? So I went in order, and basically, literally, not the first thing that came to me, but like, if I thought of an idea that sounded intriguing, or maybe I could work or play with as I go, just start writing based on a loose premise, and then see what happens. So that was all. If I would have an idea, that would be like room number 35, and
so it's a series of,
then room 36.
A series of vignettes, right? Like each room is its own little story, but completely self-contained and not really relevant to in almost every case to any of the other rooms around it. It's all like its own little world.
I did go back after, and I did put little you put a few things, not all over, but there are little seeds of like, this connects to that sort of, and this person actually works for that guy over there, and like 12 rooms over. So there is a little bit of continuity, but it's pretty much just like Stone Temple Pilot madness. It's crazy. So conversely, Fuchsia Malaise is a little more toned down, a little more maybe not so stupid gonzo, but just kind of like flares up every now and again, like, oh, weird gonzo.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the review that you're like, oh, I wish I'd mentioned that, or I wish I wouldn't have said that? Any behind the scenes, like post video comments that you have?
No, I don't think so. As you might know, my review style is that I just start talking and then go. But luckily,
that's funny because that's my adventure design style.
yeah, that's right. That's kind of funny. But usually I get it all right, so I don't have any. I almost always forget about what I just did as a video right after I've done it.
Yeah, well, that whatever state of mind that we're in, possibly our creative state of mind that we share, it's simpatico, because I feel the same way about what I'm creating.
Some comments from the live chat here. Buried Axeblade says Pundit's video is called Backhanded Compliments. Iggy Critical says, based on the review, I don't think Pundit likes Venger very much. Judd Goswick says, Pundit's review lit a fire. Venger started vlogging again. Of course, his intro is instant demonetization. Dracopole says, the OSR can have hearty, good-natured, manly assaults on each other's products, not the same as nasty, mean-spirited, backbiting attacks on the lightweight nonsense story of RPGs of today. Yeah, I think that's true. I think that there are people that are just cunts, but then there's also people who are able to make serious debates with each other in the OSR that you can't find in other places, because if you try to debate someone anywhere else, you're accused of being triggering or something.
Right. Like, oh, your review actually was hate speech, not, harsh but necessary criticism.
Iggy Critical says, I thought Pundit might be envious of Venger, but I don't know what their relationship is like. Iggy, I given that I've got, I'm doing well enough with my products that I'm living off RPGs, right? And my YouTube channel is bigger. I'm not sure what I'd be envious of, except maybe his production quality. I will say this, without a doubt, that Venger's books are spectacularly high-level production quality. So
thank you. All you have to do is borrow large sums of money from the mob. And then
I will add, Venger's books, he seems to be speaking and writing in the English language. So he's got that going for him.
Not wokeism, sans something.
Job, are you suggesting I don't write in English?
No, I'm just, my mom said to always try to say something nice if you can't think of anything. So
I see. So it wasn't
the only thing I can think of. No, I don't have it. I don't have a dog in this fight. Venture hasn't ripped me off this time.
Next time. I'll get
Well,
you next
Venture,
time.
just wait. If Venture hasn't ripped you off today, just wait for an hour.
Yes. Well, hey, first you got to publish something that's awesome before I rip it off. Sick burn.
Yeah, I haven't had anything out in a while. You can totally do that for me.
The great city of Lowell in the world of the last sun is a ripoff of one of Job's products. So there you are. Judd Goswick says pundits' love language is criticism.
Nice.
Judd Goswick also says Alpha Blue is not OSR in rules, but it's just Venture doing what he does.
It's true. It is me doing what I do. However, I think the OSR thing is debatable. I don't think this is the forum for that. We've already covered that before. We'll cover it again. But maybe OSR, maybe not OSR. Agree to disagree at the moment.
Dracopole says, RPG Pundit is living the dream if he's self-supporting. Yes, I am. I am living the fucking dream. I'm sitting here making money while I'm chatting about gaming. I got a cat on my lap. I'm smoking a pipe. I'm drinking some latte. Everything is great. He also says, Venture should be too. Well, there's a difference, which is that Venture has like 19 kids. So there's, for him to be able to make a living would probably be a bit harder to make a living off gaming than for me, If we were both earning the same, I don't know how much he earns. I'm not going to tell you how much I earn, but if we were both earning the same, I could probably live quite comfortably, and he probably would have to have another job to support his family. So,
I'd be living in a cardboard box.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Not in a third world country, you wouldn't.
Wondering about this? Check out my video on my channel, RPG Pundit's Tips for Making a Living Writing RPGs. That's where I talk about how to make a living off RPGs. And the answer is basically it's really, really hard to. It takes a lot of effort.
Step 1, move to an African village with no running water and a modem dial-up to upload your drive-through RPG PDFs to. All right. So I think we've exhausted this topic, unless there's anything else to say about
just that
Venture's product or anything else.
Just that it is an awesome video, an awesome review, and you guys should watch it. If you haven't watched it yet, you guys should watch it because it's also funny as informative. And Pundit did a good job.
You should watch it and share it.
Oh yeah, and like it, and comment down. Just comment down salt! Exclamation point, because that's
The review has 116 likes right now, so that's pretty good response and 1,200 views. So that's
I included a mention of that. In fact, that was the main point in that drive-through RPG mass customer email. I specifically mentioned. I mean, that was the point of the message that I sent out. But I said, don't watch this review video by Pundit of Chult Fuchsia Malaise. Don't do that. And, obviously the reverse psychology, and because that I know that so those numbers should skyrocket, because what else is there to talk about in RPG land except Fuchsia Malaise?
Well, right now, not a lot apparently, but that's a good number for a review. My reviews in my channel, usually do less well than videos where I'm talking about, like RPG, DMing, or design or something like that. And those do less well than videos where I'm talking about, how awful SJWs are. So that's kind of the hierarchy. But this video did quite well for a review compared to, like normally a review might make less than 1,000, right? So anyway, good stuff. Judd Goswick says Alpha Blue for Star Adventurer would be a good supplement. Well, yeah, but I mean, I've got Fuckstation Aleph, right? If you want a weirdo science fantasy space station, there's Fuckstation Aleph, and that would work too. And it's actually OSR, unlike Alpha Blue. All right, so I guess we should move on to our next topic, because For one thing, Job has nothing to say about this one. So that's
I haven't read it, so I have nothing to add. Sorry, other than I can try hurling some more insults over at Venger. That's always good for
Oh, were those insults?
30 seconds of content. What is that, Venger? What are you holding up in front of the camera?
I want to see it on the screen before. Oh, you know what? I can just click over, can't I?
Okay, we can see it.
Oh, okay. I want to get all the. It's just like a little rubber ball, but it's got like little things in it, like some of those cool dice that you can get. I don't know.
This is where we are. We're showing our balls now. All right, here.
Yep.
Speaking of
I got
dice, I
bigger
don't know if
balls than you, Venger.
Hey.
Oh, wow. We're twinsies.
There you go.
Hey guys, talking about dice. Have you guys seen that today the Babylon Bee did a parody article where it says that Wizards of the Coast released a D100 for randomly choosing your gender?
Yes, that was awesome.
that was a fantastic article. Strongly recommended.
We should all share that too, because we need to expose the bullshit, woke social justice warrior crap for what it is. Expose it and make it look ridiculous, because it fucking is ridiculous, even though they're trying to make it look sane and rational and mainstream. And we just gotta, shut it down. Shut it down.
Sorry. Go ahead. I like that the article was pointing out quite correctly the way that the Wizards of the Coast people think right now, basically. Which is like, what was the quote? Yeah, that's it. That's what made this hobby so popular. Screeching leftists on Tumblr, and we have to cater to these hardcore fans.
Yes.
That's exactly how Wizards is thinking right now. And speaking of screeching hardcore leftists, I guess that's a good segue into our main topic of the night, because it's literally like the only controversy we could find. But it picked up a bit of steam. It's been talked about quite a bit in some leftist circles, and it's also been noted on OSR groups like the Inglorious OSR on MeWe. That's where I noticed it had been posted. And this is an article that was written close to a month ago, really, but I guess it didn't get noticed all that much until now, by a guy, a blog called The Public Medievalist. The guy who wrote the article, the article is called Improving Dungeons and Dragons, Racism and the Barbarian, right? And the guy who wrote the article is a guy who is a consultant with the Smithsonian, a researcher, and supposedly with the Smithsonian. And I think that probably reveals quite a bit, because you might remember that the Smithsonian last year presented an online guide for schools called Talking About Race. And in that online guide, they said that that expecting people to be rational or to work hard are racist ideas. They're fundamentally like white supremacy, as well as being well-mannered and stuff like that. So it's really funny that this guy would say he's against barbarians in D&D, but essentially his whole argument is, the whole argument that they're presenting here is that the qualities that define a civilized person are actually a form of oppression, right? And like, why should we expect people? We can't really expect non-white people to be well-mannered, rational, or hardworking. Right? Like that's the most racist thing I have ever heard. Right? It's like
just write that in the chat. They are racist, and they just want to use twist language to make it seem like they're not racist, like they're pro-segregation. And they're pro like focusing on your race or your color or ethnicity, and like that should define you, not your character, and a dozen other things. They're the racists.
Well, I
They
mean,
want
you
to
take a
call us
look at
racist.
when this girl was this girl, a 16-year-old, was shot by a police officer as she was trying to stab another teenager, right? Both of them black. And that it's a shame she got shot, but it was literally just to save the life of this other person who was about to get stabbed. And and you had all of the left going around saying, well, that it was uncalled for because knife play is a common activity, for like African American
Kids
teenagers.
are knife fighting from the age of 4.
I mean, what a lack of understanding. Like for the one of the biggest denigrating racial stereotypes of the 20th century, of the first half of the 20th century especially, was that black youths went around with razor blades and were like this nonsense about like black violence, right? And now here's the left saying no, but that's just normal and that should be allowed, right? Like what do they want? It's just
and it shouldn't be policed. Like police should just leave murder alone because of equity.
Well, that's the lesson that
that's what they're going to do next, right?
do.
They're just going to stand there while someone gets stabbed and all the
that's the lesson
worker
any police
afterwards,
officer should take, right? Like if you get called in on a violent incident, don't go, because you're going to end up being arrested for it, for stopping the violence. It's madness. Anyway, so this guy, he wrote this article about improving Dungeons and Dragons racism of the Barbarian, where fundamentally he claims that the D&D Barbarian is obviously meant to be a fundamental expression of anti-Indigenous racism. It's like as if it's a reference to American Indians, that it has Indigenous cultural appropriation, and that basically the barbarian as it's presented in D&D should be abolished.
And one of the things I thought was funny too is if you recall, Pundit, I don't know if Ranger, you probably didn't read the article because you never do. So, okay. So
reading homework,
guilty as charged.
Yeah, so he's like, let's talk about two different barbarians. First they had first it was like the Norse barbarian, and then it was like the indigenous, and then he was like, well, the Norse one, there's no big problem there. And then he's like, but indigenous, oh my God, is so racist. But I don't know, it was 5,500 words of basically, if you boil down his entire thing, he's saying, don't use the word savage.
And he's also saying only white people should be allowed to be barbarians. I don't know.
Right, yeah, I know, right, exactly.
What the hell? So, Venture, you haven't read the article at all. Do you have any comments on it? Because I'm expecting that you
will. Yes, I have a lot of comments, actually. So many comments. No, it's obviously it's bullshit. What? How many other words do you want to take away from us? Should we not be able to use like wizard or sorcerer because we should feel sorry for the people who are not magically abled?
Should I know you're really sad about not being able to use the N-word anymore, but I'm hoping you got over it by now, Avenger.
And the D word, the drow.
Oh, Jesus.
That's in Chult, that's just as bad.
Barbarian, hang on a second. Barbarian by definition is not a racial slur. It could be considered a cultural insult.
None of it is. I mean, savage, that's not necessarily for black and brown people. I mean,
savage represents a mentality, right? But
yeah,
barbarian,
exactly. Those white people in the movie The Descent that had like devolved into these like blind, creepy things, humanoids. They God damn it! I totally lost my train of thought. But you guys know, right? Oh, they can be called savage. But they're white. Yeah, they don't want you to use native or savage or indigenous person or I don't know.
I think I know what's going on. Is that a
It's
vape
in
pen
the
in your
order.
hand there, Venger?
What's that?
Is that a
It's
vape pen in your
different.
hand? No, normal.
I do have a pen. So
Okay.
it's real.
Well, do you guys know the origin of the term barbarian?
Yeah, the Isle of Barbaros.
Well, no, it's
Just making that up.
Roman.
barbarian is a Greek term, and it comes from barbos. Barbos means beard. Okay, so it's the unshaven people. So it was a term that the Greeks referred to for people who weren't
My
part
people.
of the Greek culture, right? And specifically for people who were not city dwellers who had developed shaving, basically, right? Like they saw that as the great distinction between the civilized and the uncivilized, right?
Maybe that's why Gillette went so woke.
It's where the Latin and then from there the French and Spanish words for beard still come from. Beard in Spanish is barba, right? So from barbarian. So it's meant to be a reflection on a level of culture. Savage is about a emotional violence, right? Like a person, anybody can be a savage at a certain moment. Now, has those words been used inappropriately at certain times? Undoubtedly, right? There have been instances where people have suggested that an entire ethnicity was barbaric when they weren't, or savage when they weren't. And it really is, savage shouldn't really apply to any group. It should apply only to individuals, right? But let's look at the D&D context of the barbarian, right? Is there something fundamental in the barbarian class, which I've never been a gigantic fan of, but okay.
Me either.
Is there something in the barbarian class that is inherently racist?
Yeah, their word choice.
Their word choice.
That's all. As far as this guy's article, that's basically all I can tell. That's actually racist.
Well, here's my perspective, and it says we've got dead air for a moment. I think if you look at the history of the barbarian in D&D, it's a relative latecomer as a class, right? It wasn't in original D&D. It wasn't in basic expert D&D. It wasn't even in Advanced Dungeons and Dragons First Edition. It shows up in Unearthed Arcana, right? So it's a late entry. If you look at the barbarian in the context of Unearthed Arcana, it is very clearly a class that's meant to play Conan, right? You're basically playing. It's for people that want to be Conan, right? And you know, it was definitely not created to represent, you know, non-white characters of accusedly inferior culture or something like that, right? It was meant to present a character who is a Conan-style barbarian.
I would say Conan or like a Viking. You know, it's kind of a standard.
In fact,
the archetype.
I pulled out my Unearthed Arcana book, which I hardly ever look at because on the whole, I don't think there's a lot useful in that book. But if you look at the illustration of the barbarian there, it's very clearly a kind of a cross between Conan and a Viking. In fact, it's like a mix of the two. So it's
directly played a barbarian. That's what I've done, you know.
Hey, sorry, you guys, to interject real quick too, is Shadzar was telling me on the Twitch stream that if people got in the chat in the room before the chat started, they might have to refresh to see the chat. I just wanted to throw that out real quick.
There we go. Thank you. Thanks for that, Joe. Because I think you're the only one who can see the Twitch stream. So
yeah.
All right. So, like, you know, if you're going to ask, is the barbarian racist, you have to look at two things, right? Like, one is, what was the purpose of the barbarian class in D&D? And I think I just answered that. And the second is, if it is representative of a stereotype, is it in some way different as a stereotype in the sense of being worse or more egregious or more specifically denigrating than the stereotypes that the other classes represent? Because, like, to say, oh, well, you know, this is not an authentic representation of, you know, of indigenous peoples makes no sense if you look at the fact that, well, the paladin and the cavalier aren't representations, authentic representations of, medieval knights, and the wizard isn't an authentic representation of a wizard, right? Like none of these things are based in any more of a historical or culturally accurate way than any of the others,
Yeah, I mean, with all classes, though, I think it's they're representations of like tropes in literature and movies. You know what I mean? Like they're the common kind of like,
they're from pop culture.
The communal idea, the public's idea of what those things are.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then we're turning around and we're like, no, we got to make these, these stand-ins for like your favorite, fiction or whatever. With that, we got to make them politically correct or whatnot. Seems kind of ridiculous.
Yes.
Some comments here from the chat. Papa Bear says barbarians I thought were Conan types. Yes, they are. George Whittlebuck, Lorraine McLaren Hoopy says barbarian comes from the Greek foreigners. That's correct. Buried Axeblade says St. Cuthbert, true story, first duck savior trying to save the ocean ducks of the Isle of Man. I don't know what that's related to, but okay.
You don't have to read every comment, pundit.
No, I just saw that one day. I was like, what the hell is this? George Riddlebach, Lorraine McLaren Hoopy says, now, Hentai Dad, you need to tell RPG Pundit that he needs to kill the cat boy. The 1,000 platinum piece bounty isn't working. Well, I hate to tell you, George, but Catboy is still, he's boy now, but he is still alive. Yeah, he's no longer half cat. He's just all boy now. And just as annoying as ever. And he's still kicking, as you can see. If you want to see the latest adventures of Boy, check out the Bill the Elf YouTube channel. It's got the recordings of our adventures. I keep trying, but he's really hard to kill. He's just surprisingly, it's like he had 9 lives or something. I don't know. George Whittlebuck also says the barbarian class is racist to Celt. Electric Pizza points out Unearthed Arcana came out very shortly after the Conan movies. That's right, exactly. It's like the Arnie Conan stuff, right? Like that's totally what it is. He also comments, what, you mean all clerics in medieval times weren't badass undead hunters? Yeah, well, exactly. So there's one crucial question that we have to ask, though, because I think it's very important for us to help SJWs to establish this. And that is, what, therefore, is more racist, a barbarian or an orc?
Or a half-orc barbarian.
Well, hang on, because in USR, in AD&D, orcs can't be barbarians, which is very interesting.
Well, I think that might
in Unearthed Arcana, orcs can't play barbarians. They're by definition not barbarians.
That might actually be racist.
That might be racist, that they're not allowed to play barbarians.
Yes.
Oh my God.
That is the only part of the story that might actually be racist. Like, why aren't half-orcs allowed to be barbarians?
Okay, so we've cracked it. Orcs aren't racist.
Is it because
barbarians aren't racist?
Because you can't have a black barbarian? Why can't you have a black barbarian?
Yeah, it's very funny, right? Because, I mean, the left thinks orcs are meant to represent black people. And by definition, to them, they think human means white, right? Which is just unbelievably racist to begin with. But then only white people in D&D can be barbarians, apparently, because orcs can't be barbarians. It's a remarkable discovery. Of course, in current edition D&D, I guess orcs can be barbarians, or half orcs can be barbarians, which means that 5th edition is much more racist than 1st edition.
I suppose so.
I mean, basically, every single culture has some sort of kind of berserker or barbarian or berserker type of archetype, So yeah. I don't even know how it could possibly be racist. It's just like a common thing to
not.
like basically all mythology.
At this point, half of those people must realize that they're full of shit, and they're just saying it either to virtue signal or get woke points, or so their friends won't think they're not as woke as they are. I don't know. It's just, I mean, some of them must know, like, yeah, this is bullshit. I feel like I have to say it anyway.
Well, that's
And
the
then some
grift,
people
right?
think
Yeah,
believe it.
I would think most
They
of them,
just
you know,
like,
most
yeah,
of them are
it
darn.
is racist.
Yeah, they're
Because
just
they've
trying to
deluded
like
themselves
make
into
money.
thinking that that's reality.
The guy's writing for the Smithsonian, and he probably wants to write a column for WotC next.
Yeah.
That seems pretty likely. He probably won't get hired by Wizards though, because as far as I can tell, it looks like I'm pretty sure he's white, so he's probably going to be out of luck on that one. Paul B. Sturtevant, yeah, that doesn't sound especially native to me. I think I could be wrong, of course.
Hey, have you guys seen the movie Psycho Gorman yet?
Not yet. I want to watch it though soon.
Okay.
A friend
It's
of mine
good.
is
It's
friends
good.
with the guy who directed that. Actually, that's how I heard about it. He, the guy who directed
wow.
is like a friend of this artist that I'm friends with, and
Oh, that's awesome.
he told me to like go out and see it. It's really good. So,
It is. It's phenomenal. It's like,
yeah, I think I
the
saw
gamer movie.
you wrote something about it, right?
Yeah, I blogged about it, and then we talked about it on Gonzo Up Your Ass, the monthly show I do with Aaron.
Never heard of it.
Well, it exists, so there. But yeah, it's a phenomenal movie. It takes place in the galaxy of Gygax. So different spelling, but it's pronounced Gygax. So yeah, kind of a gamer movie. It's probably more of a D&D movie than the original D&D movie.
Okay.
All right.
So in the comments, Dracopol says, give orcs employment equity. Darren Schultz says, wait, seriously? Orcs couldn't be barbarians in 1E? That's right. Well, and remember, barbarians only show up in Unearthed Arcana. And in that book, they reviewed and changed all of the class race combos, like the level limits and stuff like that, mostly to expand it, right? So like all the demi-humans got to get higher level than they would have in the original AD&D. And they get more class choices. But orcs are, you take a look at the table, they cannot be barbarians. Indigo Dragon says, I thought orcs could only be barbarians. That's what the woke think they are, right? Windy City Weeb says, I predict that dwarves are going to be either too masculine or too offensive to the manlet. So you think they're going after dwarves next, huh? What do you guys think? Are dwarves going to be the next ones that are going to have to be forbidden?
Well, probably. I mean, because there's real life people who are dwarfs.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then it's also, you know, just usually like an Irish stereotype. A lot of times that in media, they're all have like red beards and they drink a lot and stuff.
Judd Goswick says, is Wizards of the Coast really a step up from the Smithsonian?
Have you seen what the Smithsonian is putting out these days? That's
just garbage.
Yeah.
Sir Charles says, beholders are racist against people with huge heads.
Oh man, I resemble that comment.
Yeah. Anyway, I guess do you guys have any closing comments about the barbarians are racist thing?
All these things are just ridiculous. I mean, and you just dig into. I can't believe the guy wrote so many freaking words, and then he had like a call to action for different types of people at the end. You know, it's just like,
yeah.
What is this garbage? And what is it? That was like part 27 of
a series on how horrible role-playing games are. Yeah.
Part 47 on the Public Medievalist series on race, racism, and the Middle Ages. Well, I'm not sure he's really. What are actually the Middle Ages? What is the time frame? That, like, I'm not even sure that it totally matches up. I mean, plus the D&D world isn't even. I mean, the fantasy world isn't even the Middle Ages. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Similar, maybe.
Well, in medievalism is one of the last areas of academia where there's still people who are not completely woke, right? And there's been a big movement after they took over history departments in general to try to kind of purge medievalist historians that are not sufficient, are deemed not sufficiently woke, and replace them with low quality communists that will talk about how racist the medieval world was. So,
that's what I'm pretty sure that's where Helen Pluckrose is in that space, actually, in the UK.
Yeah.
Helen Pluckrose, she's one of those the grievance studies. She did that thing with Peter Boghossian, and
yeah, she's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she does like medieval literature or text or something like that.
Yeah. And it's just bullshit. It's just nonsense,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to even come up with something to say against it because it's just so ridiculous. I'm just getting sick of it.
So, I guess we should move on to the pimping section of the video now.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to pimp. And
all right.
Your pimp screen's got World of Last Sun and RPG Presents on it. I can't remember what you wanted, but that's what you got.
That's fine. You can put that up. It's okay. So I guess I'll go first. I haven't since the last video. I haven't had any new products, but I've still got all my current products are out there and available for purchase. You can pick up. World of the Last Sun is doing really well, very popular. If you like Gonzo gaming, if you're a fan of Chalt and you want something that's like Chalt but slightly more coherent, check out World of the Last Sun. Still, with a lot of humor and weirdness and in-jokes and bizarre stuff, right? You can tell from the cover.
You need more pop culture references, pundit.
Yeah, that's what I don't have that much of, but there is some of it. I mean, there's it's there. It's just more subtle. I like being a little more subtle and a little less topical than you are, Adventure, because like a lot of the pop culture references that you've used in Chalt or in Alpha Blue or stuff like that is stuff that literally in a year no one's going to know what that is because it was so in the moment,
I know. I can't wait for people 20 years from now to be like, wait a minute, is this like this weird reference to some footnote in history 20 years ago? And
exactly, very minor footnotes.
Yeah, or people will be like, people won't know because that part of history will be dead. It'll be all revised in the new society, and it'll all be fresh, and it won't be topical or a pop culture reference at all because those people living in 20 years from now will have no.
Yeah, but it'll just be this weird thing that makes no sense to them. Like they'll have no. What's his name?
So basically, it's an in joke for me. It's like a little side joke to myself. That 20 years from now, these won't be pop culture references. Everything will just be buried, and there will only be
years from now. People won't know who David Pumpkins was. So
right, be like David S. Pumpkins. Who's that? Am I supposed to know who that is? And you then see the reality will recycle itself, and then jumpstart the second Big Bang, and then we all start over with an entirely new reality.
Dracapole says, Venger's pop culture references, when they're forgotten, he'll just sell a luxury-bound volume called Historical Footnotes of Chalt. Yeah, that's his retirement plan, So World of the Last Sun does have some, it has its share of pop culture references, right? They're just generally, for the most part, a little more subtle. Though, I mean, in World of the Last Sun, you can actually play a Kekistani character, right? Like there's a race.
Really?
So yeah, the
man,
Kekistanis are a race of heroic freedom fighters that fly around the universe, getting up to no good for the most part.
Oh my god, I can't believe DTRPG hasn't kicked you off yet for that.
Well, apart from the name, what is it? They're just, humanoid frog dudes, you know.
Apparently that's enough to like get you
Yeah,
canceled. I
put on the
remember
name is all it
Wizards like revoked their like the Wizards Play Network like or something from some game store because they had a Kekistani flag on one of the walls in the game store. I don't know if you remember that one.
Maybe.
Oh, someone in the chat said World of the Last Sun is basically like Chult without the tentacles. I like that.
It's Chult with like 100 times less tentacles, which is probably still more tentacles than one would need.
Probably.
All right. And anyways, you can also pick up Star Adventure if you're checking out. Recently, Aaron the Pedantic, I think it was Aaron the Pedantic, pointed out that Star Adventure is one of his favorite OSR space opera RPGs.
He said it's his favorite clone of Traveler, I think.
No, it's not a Traveler clone. It's a D&D based game. It's OSR, but it does borrow a few. It borrows a few good ideas from Traveler, like having skills that are based on your background and stuff like that. And you can check out, obviously, the RPG Pundit Presents series. There will be more issues coming up. We're up to 104 right now, but there's going to be more coming up in the next while. And in terms of future products, well, the good news is the Invisible College is still on the way. It's getting closer and closer to being at the end of the first stage of the editing process, and then I'm going to have to double check it, and then from there it should go quickly, assuming we don't find any major problems. So expect that to come out on time, I hope. And the next big book after that is probably going to be the second Medieval Authentic Companion, which will be a collection of more material you can use in your OSR games. And right now, what I'm working on, I'll let you guys know, this is going to be still in the future because I haven't finished writing it yet, but I have completed the first 100 pages of my next product, which at first I thought I was going to do a book, like an OSR source book for use with Lion and Dragon or any other system on the Crusades. But I actually decided to go slightly different. And what I've done instead is a kind of bigger scope source book that is going to be about the Third Crusade and the Silk Road. Because frankly, I thought that would be a better way to put it all together. And so you're going to get in this book all kinds of stuff about the time, the cultures, the cities. It's going to cover the entire course of the Silk Road, every city that was on it around 1192 AD. It's going to have all kinds of really interesting material, timelines, all the stuff that you're used to from my historical books. So you can do it. You can run it to play a campaign of the Third Crusade if you want to, and then after that have characters going down the Silk Road, because really it was after the moment that the Silk Road starts to open up for Westerners and Westerners start being able to have access to it is after the peace treaty between Richard the Lionheart and Saladin at the culmination of the Third Crusade. So I thought, well, that's exciting. And the timeline is going to basically cover from that point until Genghis Khan comes along and fucks everything up for everyone. So should be good stuff. And I think you guys will enjoy it. There'll be monsters, magic, lots of rules about how to, live on the Silk Road, all sorts of things like that. It should be really, really nice. I still don't know who's going to publish it for sure. I'll probably give first choice to Dom, who published Dark Albion and Lion and Dragon, but he's probably going to say no because he's been kind of out of the RPG publishing game. So then it'll kind of be open. We'll see whether it'll be Spectre Press or somebody else.
Did you say Dom?
Anyway, so Dominic Cruzet, DOM Publishing, who published Lion and Dragon and Cults of Chaos and Dark Albion.
Yeah, I thought he was talking about his dominatrix. I was like, what? Keep that on the down low.
You guys are very cruel to Dominic Cruzet, who is definitely one of the best publishers around for considering he only did 3 books.
Yeah, I have his OSR rule book, and I thought it was great. And I used it a bunch before, because I had like 5 or 6 OSR books before that Fantastic Heroes, and I forget the name of it. And then I got like 10 after. So there's just so many, I can't use them all. And then I finally created my own system. But I ran his DOMs for like 4, 5, 6 sessions. I thought it was great. It was a good read too.
Yeah. So anyways, to sum up, check out all my products, buy all my books. And if you've already gotten all my books, be sure to check out my 104 current issues of RPG Pundit Presents. You're bound to find something you like there. And it's like you're buying me a coffee because they're all, between 99 cents and $4.99. And it's like, you're supporting me in my work and my efforts here on YouTube, but also you're getting something for yourself that you're going to be able to use in your OSR games. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Or in some cases, not even just OSR, but other fantasy book games or what have you. So I guess that's it for me. Venger, you got anything you wanted to pimp before you have to leave?
Sure. So a few months ago, I did the Kickstarter Saving Chalt, which is several PDFs for the Chalt campaign. And the layout guy has them, and we're like inches away from completing it. Instead of 7 different PDFs, which would have been a hassle logistically and more expensive for me, and therefore you get less artwork and frills and things like that. Instead of that, I combined it into one big PDF. So there'll be a PDF coming soon, probably end of next week, called Saving Chalt, and it will contain 7 adventures that I wrote over the last 5-6 months, and that'll be a lot of fun. Should be a mixed bag of weird, wild stuff. Goes in a lot of different directions. Other than that, this show, thanks for supporting it. My fairly new-ish show, Gonzo Up Your Ass, with Aaron the Pedantic. That's a monthly podcast I do with him. Talk about how to make your game more gonzo and more metal. And we review movies too, apparently. I've been trying to do more YouTube videos myself as well on my own channel, which I've mostly neglected these past 5-7 years. So kind of reviving that and doing more videos, like 3 a week, things like Game Master Fails, and just talking about general role-playing game, OSR, D&D stuff. So check that out and keep buying Chalt and Chalt Fusion Malaise, the hardcovers. Those have been selling well, but hey, keep it going. I think that's it.
All right. Snowman0147 said, just got your last son yesterday. It is pretty good. Thank you, Snowman. I appreciate that. Dracopol says, Venture and Pundit should collaborate. You've got tentacles in my airlock. You've got an airlock in my tentacles. Delicious. I'm not sure why I'm the airlock guy in that. I don't know. I don't think I have a lot of airlocks in my products, but okay.
I would like to be the tentacle and the airlock, if you know what I mean.
I think you're both. Judd Goswick says, nice. Silk Road Adventures would be sweet.
You're like the human that's getting like maligned or abused by the tentacle, and then you're in an airlock and you're like, push the button, close the airlock, sever the tentacle. Tentacle's like, ah!
Sir Charles says, is nobody drunk this episode or what? Sorry, Sir Charles. Are we not entertaining you?
Surprise. I am totally baked.
Oh, there you go. Venger is baked.
Totally baked.
Chud Goswick says Chult has a happening music scene and a burgeoning dinner theater revival.
Yes.
Mr. Triceratops says Job is turning this into a furry podcast. Sir Charles says bestiality FTW. Yeah, it's a bit disturbing. I have to say, there's something a little odd going on there with him and that deer. Anyway, Job, have you got something to pimp?
I'm on mute. God damn it! I said just shut up, pundit, like 5 times. I'm on my show screen on the stream.
All right.
Okay.
So, have you got something to promote?
I do. Well, I just got some good news. If people have been, I've got this this book of magic. So this is magic for dungeon masters. It's real occult secrets that I have been collecting over the last 30 some odd years. So it's going to be coming out from Lamentations of the Flame Princess. I completed the writing in like 2019, I think, and we've been waiting on the artist. The artist is finally done. We've been waiting on the forward. The forward just got done like 2 days ago, and it's brilliant. Who does
the forward?
What's that?
Who did the forward?
His name is JF Martel. He's he does a podcast called Weird Studies. So if you like a kind of like a cultist and just strange phenomenon podcast, check it out. It's pretty good. It's him and Phil Ford, who's like a musicologist. They're a couple of Canadians, and they put out like 1 or 2 episodes a month or something. But I don't know, check it out. It's pretty good. I like it. Cool. But I just happened to meet him at a gaming thing, and everything worked out. But so I just got that in. Ben, who's it? Ben Marr did the art. I have like one piece of the art of these are the pregnant cannibal children that are consuming one of the villagers. So look at that. I'm pretty sure like near the end of the year it's going to come out. I think that's what it is, but we'll see. So it's a book of magic rituals for dungeon masters or referees or whatever it is, game masters, whatever you want to call them. And then the second part of the book is an adventure that uses kind of the techniques in the first part of the book to run an adventure, like how you would run an adventure using these techniques that are different than probably anything. They're different than anything that's come before. So
you'll have to send me a review copy when it comes out.
Yeah, we'll see, man. The shipping is so expensive to you, but yeah, I could probably swing it. We'll see.
Well, you might get 1,200 views out of it or more.
Yeah, definitely. We'll talk.
George Whittlebox says, when are you going to get Raggy on the podcast? I don't know. I think Raggy's a bit scared of coming on here.
And then Draco
he's scared. Well, I've said this before. He said if you ever come on camera, he'll come on. But I keep working on him. I don't know. Raji's, I think, to me, Raji is almost a hero, right? Like, he's like pushed back on people, in the RPG, a lot of the wokeness. I would say he'd be a full on hero. Like if he just, when they told him like, Zach, no, you can't do Zach, that he told him to fuck off, but he couldn't do that. I can understand why. I'm trying to build up my own RPG thing. I just don't want to build it up in the way that I would never have to make the same choice that he had, So I don't know why I just said that. Oh, because we want Raji to be on the show. Yeah, so I hope that Raji will one day be an actual hero and come on this show without, ridiculous demands.
There we go. Good stuff. So anything else to promote here?
No, God, my wife was making fun of me the other day because I can't think of what the last book that I've had come out. Everything's been like delayed forever. So
Well, I'll tell our audience, if you guys like this this live stream, or all of our live streams, or all our live streams except for this one, then be sure to support us on PayPal, not on PayPal, on Patreon, so that we can continue to make more of these, and hopefully Venger gets to stay up later. He's now a whole 4 minutes past his bedtime, so you can see that it's working. Your contributions are paying off. It'll continue, I hope, to get further and further along if he's, as we get more Patreon money, it'll justify his presence here.
Yes.
Oh wait,
So
I gotta interrupt you. Dracopol had a really good question. He said, "What are the pregnant cannibal children's pronouns?" And that is actually something that is in the book.
That's awesome.
So they have different pronouns. Some of them are fair and fey fair, and there's some other what do you call them, neo pronouns in there. So pronouns actually play an important part of this book. All right, is Venger out of here? Later, Venger.
I gotta go, guys. Good show.
Right.
Thanks
That was
for
5 minutes extra time for Venger. That's good stuff.
listening.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I can't believe Venger stayed that long. Crazy.
It's amazing. All right, see you guys.
See you, man.
Take care. So Jim Raggy is afraid to be on this show, but he's not afraid to publish that.
Well, I don't know. Everything that he's published of mine, he's been afraid to publish. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I guess we will.
I mean, we both thought we were going to be pilloried over Towers 2, but there was like not a peep. So,
well, there you go. I think you've got to be bold in this industry. It's what draws people in.
yeah, I really think that most because people didn't attack Towers 2 because most of this crap is totally disingenuous. I mean, they don't really believe any of this stuff. It's all about how they can, push their power because they want to make pundit cry or whatever the hell it is that they're trying to do. So yeah, by all rights, if you if you read the rape table +4 in Towers 2, you would you think people would go crazy, but no one really cared.
That's more ridiculous than anything I've ever, actually.
Right. Sorry, I did write that actually, but I don't know. A lot of Towers 2, I'm actually making fun of Dave Brocky's, let's say amateurish design and the stuff that he put in there. So, he has one part where he's like, the orcs had this table, and then the next sentence is like, it's a rape table. So then, he died, and I finished the stuff, and then, so later on in the book, I'm like, it's a rape table +4. Like, I mean, there's no mechanics around it. It's just a rape table +4. But it is a rape joke, I guess, in some respects.
Well, it's yeah, what have you, but somehow I managed to get more attacks than you do from the woke crowd.
Right? Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's because you espouse your conservative views, or have in the past, and I don't espouse any political views really, other than like.
So you're just generically offensive.
Yeah, I'm just generically offensive, and I'm just like, fuck everybody and let's kill children. And Judd Goswick is asking about Brutal Blades. So yeah, I'm still working on Brutal Blades. I've got the next 4 pieces of art coming in for the classes. And let's see, I finished all the combat the combat skills, and I moved on into arcane spells. So I'm in arcane spells now. I got to write about 50 of those, 50 druid spells, 50 cleric spells. I'm really just kind of racing. I'm trying to get like a play test version out that I can like share with other people. I think I'm going to kind of try to go the route of like, oh god, what's that douche's name? Daniel Fox, with his crappy games, Zweihander. Because it like he got a playtest version of it out pretty fast that people were playing, you know, like a printed version. I'm pretty sure it was printed. And then later on he like just did a Kickstarter to clean it up. But yeah, I do want to get like a less version, an abridged version, like a quick start rules type of version of it for people to play at least the first 3 levels before I get the whole thing out, you know.
So Lord Mateus says the attack on LOTFP was about taking down a successful rival. Wokeness was just the weapon to use. Yeah, well, you're not wrong, Lord Mateus. That's true.
Exactly.
And in general, a lot of this is really about. To remember, a lot of the people who are now the woke grifters of the RPG scene used to be the story gamers of the RPG scene. You know, they were story game grifters before this, right? And so their attacks on the OSR are an attack on a more successful movement than theirs was, that actually did what they only had the pretense to doing, right? Like the OSR games have much more fascinating variety, quality of product. It's actually playable. It breaks new ground all the time, right? Like there's the OSR has, at least since around the time of Lamentations onwards, been about producing new and interesting variations of the fundamental rules of the oldest RPG around, in ways that you can do all sorts of crazy things with it, right? And so that turned out to be a much bigger creative source than anything that the story gamers ever tried. So of course, when they latched on to leftist politics, they also latched on to that as an opportunity to try to destroy, Lamentations, but also all of the OSR in general is what they wanted to go away, right? And that's it's basically a kind of tortious interference that they're doing, where they're trying to force a competitor out of business with ridiculous accusations.
So George Whittlesbach, Lorraine McClarion Hoopy says, when will you get Varg on to talk about Mifrog? Oh, I hope that's a bad joke.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to have him on here.
Never.
We'll have Mark Ryan Hagen before we have Varg.
I don't even know who that is.
Mark Ryan Hagen? He's the guy who created Vampire the Masquerade.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, shit. Yeah, okay.
And now he lives
really
in
weird.
Georgia.
The guy that just wrote that forward for my book brought him up. Can't believe I forgot that.
He lives in Georgia, but not Georgia the state, Georgia the country.
Okay.
Has some interesting political views nowadays, I guess. All right, so you guys got anything else to talk about with us, or are we going to wrap it up a little early here? This is your last chance.
Us to keep talking, type some messages on there.
Give us your questions or comments, and we'll see if we can choose to address them or not. It's gone quiet.
Well, we're also delayed, dude. Like it takes like 30 seconds for anything to show up on the.
Right. I always forget that. That's why I'm not the tech mod.
Well, I got a question at least for the people in the chat room. What are there any guests or other YouTubers that you would like to see us try to get as guests on the show?
That's a very good question. And I mean, like, not necessarily game designers, right? But guys that have their own YouTube channels or things like that. Like we've had Aaron on here, and we had Aaron's wife, and we've had a few other people. Death Trap Games was here.
Yeah, if anyone wants to, see us talk to Aaron the Pedantic's cousin or his dad, or anything
we're going
like
to
that,
go through his entire family, I guess. There is actually someone I would like to at one point have on, but I'm not going to comment on who it is right now. But I think it would be quite interesting, an interesting story. But
All right.
I'm going to hold off on
Yeah,
saying
I would
anything.
love to see Grimm come back on. Judd Goswick mentioned Grimm.
Hey, Grim, I don't know if you're watching, but if
Yeah.
you ever want to be a guest star on the show that you were once a host of, you'd be very welcome to be here.
What else we got? In all seriousness, I'd say George Whittlesbach, Lorraine McLaren, Hoopy. In seriousness, I'd say to get Skirples or Lungus Fungus on. They're two interesting people in the OSR. Oh God. Yeah, but Skirples won't go on camera, so I don't know. We've already got one disembodied voice on the show. I'm not sure that I'd want another one.
All right.
I don't know who lung fungus is. Do you know?
Yeah,
who
I'm
that
not
is?
familiar with either of them. I'm too out of touch, I guess. Let's see what Skirples is about. Coinsandscrolls.blogspot.com. Looks like he's got interesting OSR stuff.
Yeah, I know Skirples is cool. But he's famous for being for wanting to maintain his anonymity.
Well, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I got him. I think I talked a little bit of shit about him, not with mentioning his name, but when we were talking about that, whatever Jarrett Crater or whatever was giving him a hard time on Twitter. I thought he was somebody else. That pissed me off before, but it's not that person.
Shad, Ethan Van Scriver, Tenkar.
Shad would be cool. Maybe he would do it. Man, these are great suggestions. Ethan Van Sciver's too big. He would never come on our show. He's not in the D&D as far as I can tell.
Yeah, he's a comics guy. I mean, it was just cool, right? I mean,
yeah. Honestly, I listen to a lot of those Comics Gate guys just because I like hearing the controversy, but I don't even read comics anymore. I don't really care about them.
But yeah, Shad could be a good choice, I guess.
And Raging Golden Eagle, do you know that? Snowman 0147 mentioned that.
Raging Golden Eagle. No, it doesn't sound familiar to me.
Who's Arch? Man, I'm not even knowing half these people.
Really? Well, these are things we're going to have to research now.
Yeah, no, this is great.
So who's Arch, guys? You're going to have to give us some explanation.
Yeah, Mr. Triceratops, we need help of who Arch is. And Tarantul. Michael Curtis. We're not fucking having Michael Curtis on here.
No, not a fan, are you?
It. He wouldn't do it. I don't think he would.
Cave Girl.
Yeah. None of those DCC guys would ever do this shit. In fact, some of them stopped answering calls from me recently. So I'm like,
if Cave Girl wanted to come on here, that would be quite interesting. Let's put it that way.
Oh shit! I would love that, man. That would make for a good show.
Yeah, undoubtedly. She'd be very welcome to try to come on board.
I think she would be. I think that's her pronouns, but I think she would if she's willing to just fucking go off. That'd be awesome. But I don't know. Most of these social justice people are just too scared to do anything, go on any shows, because they might catch the cooties.
Let me just do one thing here.
Well, who hasn't? Malachi's Mercurial Musing says, I think Skirples had some run-ins with Zach S. Well, who hasn't?
Oh, yeah. Cave Girl's got me blocked, guys, so I'm guessing she's not going to be coming on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I follow her. I follow people that say things I don't like.
Arch Warhammer. Yeah, okay. I know who that is now. Okay. I just wasn't putting it two and two together.
Oh, he's a buddy of Sargon's. Okay. All right. Well, we're getting a lot of Arch Warhammer in here, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he would be willing to come on to a show like ours, but if he was, that'd be awesome.
These are all great suggestions. I'm going to take all this stuff and
you're going to have to make notes here, Job. This is your homework between now and the next.
Yeah, we need to, I really do want to get some more guests on here, some more higher quality guests. We've had all the crappy guests on, except for the Black Dragon Games guys. That was a joke, Aaron. I'm
I think
kidding.
every one of our guests have been great. Alexander, Aaron, Alexander Macris has an open invitation to come on here. At the moment, he's not working really on producing RPG stuff, so he hasn't taken me up on it. I'm guessing if he tries to do another RPG product, he probably will.
That guy's
I
great,
hope he
man.
does.
I would love to have him on here.
He's my old boss, from Defy Media, so I'd be quite happy to see him.
Okay.
I can send him the emails and such, but
yeah. Good again. Or get on his he's on his Discord. You can get on his Discord and find him there if he doesn't.
Oh, he'd answer me.
Oh, okay.
We talk semi-regularly still.
Oh, okay, cool.
But I did ask him once already. He was like, well, I'm not doing any RPGs right now, so
oh crap. I should try to hit up some of the like TSR people that I know from when I was working with games.
Any old TSR person, like even if it was like the guy that bought the coffee,
yeah, right? All right. I didn't even think about trying that. I'll try that one too.
Yeah, get some old TSR people in here.
All right. All right, cool. Thanks, guys. These are some these really good.
Well, all of you guys that are saying Macris, tell him that you want him to come on because he knows he's welcome to come on. So it's just about when he feels like it.
All right. Hell, I'm gonna fucking talk some shit now. Martin Tepley says get Zach. He'd do it. I really do want to bring Zach on here just because he's so hated. This would be the perfect show for him to be on if he would do it.
He'd never do it.
But what you guys both shot me down. You and Venger both. I'm telling.
Well, I'm not too interested in Zach, but I mean, let's face it, he wouldn't do it. Zach spent all of the last several years desperately trying to present himself as a hardcore leftist guy and condemning the likes of me and Venger, right? So his great tragedy of life is that he would desperately want to be an SJW, but they're never going to let him in.
Yeah.
Errol Otis, yeah.
Hey, Steve Winter doesn't live too far from me.
Yes, if we could get Errol Otis, that would be awesome.
I don't think we can get Errol Otis. I've met him a couple of times, but I don't know him at all. But Steve Winter, I worked with him on some stuff, so he's pretty cool. I got some drinks with him and Alex Hammer a couple of years ago before all this COVID crap went down. Sneed. Who's John Sneed? That sounds familiar. I think I heard that name. Yeah, I followed DM Bloodworth too, but
who I'd like to have on here is Bruce Hurd, one of the principal architects of Mystara, my favorite D&D setting.
Really? That's your favorite one?
Oh man, Mystara was amazing.
Oh, okay.
I ran an epic campaign on it.
Yeah,
and I mean,
Jim Ward is what I was thinking of. I would like to reach out to Jim Ward. The dude never remembered me. I worked on the Metamorphosis Alpha stuff with him and some other stuff. Like this really crappy book, don't buy it, called Writing Adventure Modules That Don't Suck or whatever. It's terrible. It's got the worst advice in it ever. It's a ripoff. Unless you get in the bargain bin for $5, then go for it. But Jim Ward, I don't know, man. He's a weird dude. He never remembers who I am. I'm like, hey, how's it going, Jim? And he's like seen him every year at GaryCon, and I've played it in his games, and I've fucking worked for him. I wrote for his project, and he still doesn't remember me.
Bruce Hurd specifically did the whole Princess Ark saga that appeared in Dragon magazine, and with the flying ships and everything, and that was like. I sent one of my main sources of inspiration for the flying ship part of the Worlds of the Last Sun. It was fantastic. That was a gonzo world. That was the most gonzo world that D&D ever had in the TSR era.
Oh, we got who's Tepley's saying something about rents too. I don't think Jeff Rentz would do it, man. He works like at a university. Like, he's got to be like pretend to be woke, even if he isn't. I don't know if he is or not, but he did run a game one time, and he was like, you had to put your pronouns in the survey. So I put my pronoun as fuck/you, and he didn't pick me to be in his game. So
He's Rentz is a Democrat for sure. I remember the last time I crossed paths with him and his wife was during the 2016 election. So unless they've really changed their tune, they're pretty much on the left. I don't know. I don't know if they're on the crazy left, but they probably are. It's probably enough that they wouldn't want to be on this show.
Yeah. All right. Well. Oh fuck, Frank Menser.
Yeah, Menser would be a good choice.
Frank might do it. All right.
Sandy
Peterson. We got a
Peterson.
lot of good ideas here.
Judd Goswick says Bruce Hurd has a new airship fantasy setting. Kaladar is the name of it, and yeah, it is. It's a pretty good. I mean, it was because Hurd tried to get the rights to Mystara, like to publish new Mystara material, and Wizards didn't give it to him. So he created a new setting, the Worlds of Kaladar, and it's basically meant to be a continuation of the sort of stuff he did with the Princess Arc stuff from Mystara.
All right. All right, we got some well, I got some homework here.
Yeah, quite a lot.
We'll figure out something. I want to get somebody big, you know what I mean? I mean, no offense to the people we've had in the past, but we're getting close to 1,000 and being able to monetize. I feel like if we just get one more person, one, decent guest on, that we'll get bumped over that, hopefully.
Well, there you go. That's the ambition of Job's ambition. Kevin Crawford
says, "Is Kevin Crawford woke?" I'm not sure. I think so. I mean, he does all that stuff for stuff. I've said stuff to James. I was like, I've seen stuff he's said online before, and I thought Kevin Crawford was woke, and he was like, no, not really. But I don't know.
I think Kevin Crawford has been very strategically apolitical.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. I don't know. So I don't remember. I'm old, and I confuse shit all the time, so I might be just talking shit, and it's totally not.
Yeah, I've never seen Kevin Crawford take a stand on any political issue.
You haven't? Okay, all right, I'm wrong. I take it back. I'm sorry, Kevin.
I could be wrong. Maybe somebody in the audience will point that out to me, but I'm pretty sure Kevin Crawford's whole deal is I'm not even going to touch that with a 10-foot pole, right? Okay. Like he's going to stay completely away from this sort of thing. Get Warren Spector on the show.
Oh. I think we've beaten this chat to death here.
Yeah, but some great ideas, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Job's going to make a big list, and we'll see who we can get for the next Inappropriate Characters.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to take this whole list. I'm going to try to I'm going to start at the top, whoever I think is the biggest person that I can get, and I'm just going to go from there. I'm going to start tomorrow. Thank you, everybody.
So we've got our next episode is going to be on the 23rd of May, assuming that works for all three of us anyway. So there we are. Check it out. Get ready, because on the 23rd of May, we will probably have a guest star of some kind. Possibly a member of Aaron's family. Next time on Inappropriate Characters, Aaron's pet goldfish. The George Riddlebog says, get the ghost of Anton LaVey on the show. I think Anton wouldn't want to recognize Adventure as his bastard love child, so his ghost would probably not manifest.
Oh, Jesus. All right, if you guys, okay, Stop talking about this. If you guys if you have one more question, throw it in there. I think we're about to wrap up here, though, Pundit. When do you got to go? 1 minute?
Oh, I don't ever have to go, but you know, that's my whole secret. I'm never not on. You know, so. But if there's nothing else to talk about, I guess it's got to be time to wrap it up. I know you're going to want to go to sleep at some point soon here because you know you're at a different. You're actually at an earlier time zone than I am, but your bedtime is clearly before mine.
Well, you're judging from the game. It depends on what's going on, man. So yeah, it's 7 here. I'm ready to party with my bed-bound wife who can't move.
Okay, so here's the final topic for the night is actually, I guess I might as well out you that Job has been a play tester for the Invisible College, and he's quite liked it, I think. But you know, if you want to share your impressions about it without giving away too much of the game,
sure, yeah, it's a really good game. I would highly recommend it. I wish I had a book to reference while we're playing the game because it seemed, I don't really know what my options are. But, that's kind of what happens when you play, play test games a lot of the times. So I would highly recommend Invisible College. There
you go, guys. It's got the endorsement for Job.
Yeah.
Snowman asks, after Invisible College and The Crusade, it's actually going to be, the book is actually going to end up being called Silk Road, I think. But anyways, after that, what is next? Well, I don't know, because by then we're talking about probably 2022, right? 2023 maybe. Because Invisible College comes out this year. 2022 will probably be when the Silk Road book comes out. It depends on what I come up with. By then I might start doing another series of RPG Pundit Presents. And there's still a few from the first series that have yet to come out. There's, I think, maybe 6 or 7 more issues to come out of RPG Pundit Presents. And then there's Invisible College. Then there's going to be this book. There might be additional books or adventure books or things like that for Invisible College. We don't know yet. That'll depend a bit with the publisher and whatnot. But we'll see. I don't think I'm ever going to run out of ideas because I've been going pretty strong so far. I might not be producing a product a week anymore like I was for a little while there, but there'll be always good stuff as long as I'm still kicking and can still smoke a pipe.
Yeah, by the way, my wife Maud just texted and she said that she recommends Invisible College too.
There we go. Yeah, because she's also a play tester, so good stuff. Thank you very much, Maud. All right, so I guess that's it for tonight. Feel free, guys, to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Share this video everywhere, and be sure to like it. If you want to support us here, there's a Patreon link in the description, and the more patrons we get, the longer Venger is allowed to stay up. He's now up to 5 whole minutes after his original bedtime, so we'll see how that proceeds. Stay tuned. Next time we're gonna have some kind of a special guest. We'll see which one it is, and it'll be bound to be interesting. I don't know if it'll be as interesting as what we're seeing here, but you're on mute.